Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. And Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, it's a Wednesday. It's the first Wednesday of the month. That usually means special event around here. Of course, you know her very well as the Dr. Vavavoom of the West Coast. She's known also around here as Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, and she always brings a message of how you can take care of you better. Today, a different keynote will be struck, talking about kindness. We've never really done a show on kindness, and it would only be appropriate that Dr. Susan Smith-Jones would be able to spread some light on how making kindness should be your guiding light and your default position. Anyway, Dr. Susan Smith-Jones will be our guest today right after that first break, and be with us all the way up to the top of the hour. If you have a question or a comment that you want to call in and ask her about, the number to do that, as you should know by now, is to dial us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. We'll listen for that knock, and we will let you in the store. All right, folks. Things are heating up around here this month of May. Besides ambient temperatures heating up, things are heating up in the office too. I want to really extend my thanks for all of you who came out on Monday night and spent, well, I thought it was going to be maybe an hour. Turned out it was 2.5 hours before you had enough and went on your way. We launched the new cataract program on Monday night, and you well attended it. We packed the house so I could instruct you on how the cataract clinic is going to work. It looks like we have plenty of participants up and coming, so I think I'm going to be busy for quite a while. I will report back to you, my listening audience, on how this unique approach to treating cataracts is going to really reveal itself to be the success I believe it's going to be, and so too are those who are in the audience feel that way also. So I'll keep you apprised of what's going on as each advancing date comes by. Of course, what just hit the stands, we just got our supply yesterday, is the Lifestyle Medical Journal that is the spring edition was published. I told you it would be coming out. Well, it should be in all the offices that you normally do find it. This is the spring 2015 edition. The article in here called The Cataract Cure. I think it's really appropriate for what we're doing now anyway. And I notice other practitioners have really come up. There's Dr. Dan talking about Lyme disease, and way in the back, as if she ever needed to be put at the end of the line, Dr. Charmaine Bassett-Trim talking about frequency-specific microcurrent and a recent podcast that she has done. Anyway, get your free copies here at the office. Also, all the health food stores in the Western Pennsylvania area will be carrying this. It's free of charge. Pick one up. Enjoy it, and love to hear what you think about it. Now, the schedule is the category of show guests is going to go like this. Friday, we're going to finally open it up to you. I'm actually very interested to hear what you think about all this hubbub with cataracts or whatever else is on your mind. So we will open it up on Friday. On Monday, Tom Lowe is going to be our guest. He is a gentleman I first met at the Frank Schallenberger conferences that I attended way back in December of 2013. He is the gentleman who came on our show to talk about ultraviolet blood irradiation, a treatment, a sister treatment to the ozone therapy that we deliver when we deliver it intravenously. He's now moved into the ozone realm himself, and he has in-home units relatively reasonably priced. We're going to talk about it to do rectal insufflation or vaginal insufflation as a way to administer ozone at home. and do so with pretty good results, I might add. So Tom Lowe is going to be our guest on Monday. Then Ed Kane, the original Ed Kane, is going to be here on Wednesday. He's the one that devised a pretty unique way of treating your mineral deficiencies, and in the process discovered an entirely new way of performing chelation therapy. I guess I'm the first to dub it natural chelation, because that's exactly what happens without the use of any abrasive substances, certainly any intravenous substances. It's possible to get rid of all your heavy metals and do it natural. And I asked Ed if he would come aboard and talk about it. Without hesitation, he has complied. So he'll be our guest next Wednesday. Then the following Monday, John Tobridge, a personal friend of mine for many years, was one of the participants in the Top Doc Chelation Conference held in St. Petersburg, Florida, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And he did such a wonderful job talking about conventional chelation. I said, my folks have got to hear that. Would you please discuss your viewpoints on the chelation issue on my show? And so he'll be our guest on the 18th. And then who doesn't remember Dr. Lee Cowden? He was one of the original Top Docs at the original Top Doc conference held in Phoenix, Arizona. That was way back in last summer, coming up almost a year now. And we launched a book that we have in the office, along with the new chelation book, which is another group of Top Docs. Lee Cowden has been on the show to talk about many things. He now returns talking about something he's quite an expert in, and that is all the energy therapies. You know, this is going to be getting a lot of play. A lot of practitioners, a lot of lay people who aren't practitioners have really glommed on to the use of energy therapies in all of its various forms. Well, there's so many of them out there, we needed somebody to sift through them and educate you about what therapies hold the most promise, which therapies in the hands of the good doctor, that is, has come across with the greatest payoff. He promises to describe it already. It's in his book called Energy Therapies. We'll give you information on how to get that book. Dr. Lee Cowden will be our guest on the 20th, which is a show 2 weeks from today. Then as we move into the last week, we had talked about 2 companies that we really support with respect to frequency-specific microcurrent. The leader of that entire group of products is a company called Inspirstar. It is owned and managed by Ning Wu. And I got to bring Ning on the show. He's really an interesting fellow. You want to hear from him. But the entrant that also has got a lot of respect from us is the Avasia unit. And we're going to have Mike Legal. He's the CEO of somebody called First Alternatives. These people that market Avasia throughout the United States. He will be our guest on the 27th, talking about how that device may be the appropriate way to treat your individual pain problem. That's on the 27th, as we, by the way, right after the Memorial Day weekend, which looks like it gets celebrated on the 25th. It's a little early, but so be it. And as I look out into the future, it appears as though we got a guest for June. I just tell you about him. In keeping with finding out that Dr. Dan wrote the article on Lyme's disease, the gunslinger for Lyme's disease, as I refer to him, Dr. David Minkoff will be our guest. He runs a clinic that treats almost exclusively Lyme's patients in Clearwater, Florida, and he goes gunning for bear. That's why I refer to him as the gunslinger. The gunslinger will be our guest way out there in June 17th. I'm looking at the eye protocol in the month of June. Now, it looks like we're alternating that this month we're going to launch the cataract clinic, but the Conduit 3-day program, the next one that we'll hold in this office will be the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. If you have a retinal disease like macular degeneration or glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy, these are in particular. There are many other retinal diseases, but those are the most well known. We have a 92% success rate of getting these diseases turned around, 92% in 3 days. just ran the stats the other night. I presented that statistic to the audience who was in attendance at the cataract meeting, and we can just do so well with these retinal diseases. If you are afflicted with any of them, you should know that there really is no treatment option available for you at all in the conventional world. You're left to flounder and slide down a cliff, whether slowly or rapidly. That is not a pleasant flight. And at the bottom of that cliff, things are pretty scary down there. We want to rescue you, bring you to the top of the hill, and have you conquer these diseases. Give us a call here at 724-942-3002. Talk to Sister Sarah, and she'll get you lined up to be able to be a participant in the program, and we'll let it go at that. Now, we are, by the way, a Lyme disease treatment headquarters here. We have teamed up two therapies that appear, that never been teamed up before, and that's probably why Lyme disease has been so devastating in those that it has afflicted. We say that the antimicrobial side always a side of this disease that you need to pay attention to. Unfortunately, it's the only side of the disease that gets any attention paid to it by the conventional medical community that throws antibiotics one after another at this thing. And as we've learned, once you get beyond a certain window, literally a few weeks after exposure to the initial tick bite, if that happens to be how you get the disease, you move into another realm where antimicrobials alone will not be able to conquer this disease. Our good friend Dr. Ty Vincent from Wasilla, Alaska, has stumbled on the answer to why that's so. Turns out that this disease goes from a microbial infection to an autoimmune disease, and once in that realm, you can't eradicate it until you've treated the immunological side of the equation. So we're proud to have teamed up these two therapies, ozone therapy and LDI, which is low-dose immunotherapy, as has been professed by Dr. Ty Vincent, a frequent guest on our show. And I refer you to the shows that we did with him December of last year and then January and February of this year to discuss just how it is that LDI can conquer the problem. Lyme disease, you can win. You can beat it. But you never know it if you listen to the conventional medical community. They have screwed it up, and, as they've done so many other times before. All right. I think we've reached the point in the show that it's time to switch some gears. Folks, it's a Wednesday. It's first Wednesday, and it's time for her to come aboard. You look forward to it every month. I know I do too. A unique topic today. Kindness needs to be your guide. No one's really ever talked about it in the way that I see this shaping up. We'll be right back in a moment with Dr. Susan Smith Jones. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. We're here today on a Wednesday morning version of the show, but it's not just any Wednesday. It's First Wednesday, and that's usually special times around here. We're used to getting a chance to speak with a good friend of ours, hails from the West Coast, but travels worldwide, bringing messages to people on how to take care of themselves en natural. It all started from her grandmother, and it just spills off of her now. We listen for every morsel of information she can provide us. Today, a rather unique look at kindness. I don't believe I've ever heard anybody talk about it in the way that only this young lady can do. She's got three names, Susan and Smith and Jones. Put a doctor in front of that. We've got Dr. Susan Smith Jones with us today. Let's say good morning and welcome to you, Dr. Jones.
Good morning. It's so wonderful to be back with you again. Hope you're doing well.
I am doing well. By the way, a little birdie told me that you on the West Coast are 20 degrees cooler than we are here in Pittsburgh. Did you know that?
Yeah, I just was talking to your engineer about that. Because in the last few months, you've had all the snow.
We got hit pretty bad, and you would always smirk.
Yeah.
And, okay.
So, you know that we need rain here.
I heard, Jerry Brown is doing a rain dance out there right now to try to bring it into you.
We all need to do here.
Well, our fingers are crossed for all of you out in the West Coast, and the drought situation is certainly no laughing matter. I hope you get barrage with rains here up and coming.
Yeah, I do too. Thanks.
Now, let's remove the clouds of talking about rain and bring some sunshine through the window. Before we do that, because this subject of kindness is rarely dealt with, and I think you're so adept to finally have a formal discussion of it. But you've just completed, as you usually do, a new newsletter. So tell us about your most recent launching of the newsletter and what's in it. What's in this one?
Yeah, I just posted it a couple days ago. It's the May-June newsletter. So if you go to my website, you'll see it right there. And I've got lots of weight loss tips on how to lose the weight and keep it off. Lots of info on thyroid and more energy and detox and mood. I have recipes, one for cashew cream, delicious. I have 30, if you ever are tired with salads and don't know what to put in salads, smoothies, or juices, I have 30 superfoods that are perfect to add to if you make juices or salads. We hope you have at least one a day, and juices and smoothies. So lots of, if you want allergy relief, I've got information on that. The dangers of food dyes. I have a recipe for a smoothie that will really give you vitality for cheesy kale chips. So lots of great advice. It's free. You just go to my homepage, click on May-June newsletter, and you'll find everything there.
All right. The just came out, because you do now one to cover 2 months at a time.
It goes for 2 months at a time, but what the general public never sees, you do because you get it, is every month I put out a letter. And in the sidebar of my website, it just says sign up. It takes 10 seconds. And I do not inundate you with emails. Once a month, you get this upbeat, motivational letter. It has a theme and lots of beautiful pictures. And the theme for May happens to do, the title was Salute the Salad and Weight Loss Made Easy. So all of the photos are of beautiful salads. And in that letter, not only do you get more great recipes and tips on how to lose weight, but two of my dear friends are doing summits. I don't know if you know what a summit is, but you can attend it free. It's 21 days long. There's 21 experts that they've interviewed, and you just sign up. And one summit is about reaching your goals and intuition and living your best life the other summit is all about fitness and weight loss. So if you haven't signed up, obviously if you didn't get it on May 1st, you haven't signed up. Once you sign up, you'll get all this great info, and then you can join these summits absolutely free. But this is something every month, this letter, that the general public never sees.
Well, you want to sign up, and it's as easy as going to the website at SusanSmithJones.com. Right on the opening page, they ask you to sign up and just put in your email address, and it's done, right?
Right, yeah. Well, there's a sidebar on the right side. If you scroll down, it says sign up. And that's how you get these monthly letters. And also, when you sign up, you get about 9 gifts from me, including the book, my ebook, Full Color, Detoxify and Rejuvenate, and the other one, The Curative Kitchen. They're also entered into a drawing every single week. I contact, these are only from the people who've signed up. I contact one person somewhere in the world or this country, and we set up a date where I'll call you, and we can visit for 90 minutes, and you can talk about anything you want, ask me any questions. It's a free consultation. So there are lots of benefits to signing up. Besides, you get gifts, and you're entered into a drawing, and then every month, and I don't do more than that, you get this wonderful, upbeat, motivational letter that has some different theme each month.
We want our listeners go to your computer right now, type in SusanSmithJones.com. That'll take you right to her website. And as she mentions, just scroll down just a little bit on that front page, and you'll see where you can sign up and get everything that she says that is contained within the letter, plus the motivational letter that nobody gets other than those who have joined.
Yeah, it's a big green little button that says sign up now.
All right, Susan.
All you do is you give your email address, and then within seconds or maybe a minute, you get back a confirmation letter saying you're signing up for these monthly letters, and you confirm, and then you'll get the letter, you'll get the gifts immediately, and then every month from now on, at the end of the month, or this time it was May 1st, you get a beautiful letter with, just for the photos, it's worth it. The photos are terrific.
Okay. Well, I know I got my letter, and I look forward to your newsletter each and every time a new one comes out. I hope everybody listening to us takes up your offer.
Yeah. If anybody needs motivation to why to eat more salads, why they're great for you, and just details on salad and weight loss, this May letter is the one you definitely want to read. Okay.
Let's move on today, because I'm very excited about your topic, because I know it really doesn't get discussed to any degree whatsoever. And the fact that you, and would only be you, had decided to spend some time on it says, you're the right person to have this discussion on things such that should be so basic but are so absent, something called kindness. Why did you think it was appropriate time to bring such a topic to our listeners?
Well, first of all, last month I did a workshop, and on this topic, in fact, my title was Let Kindness Be Your Default Position and Guiding Light. And you never know how many people might want to attend, but within 2 days of sending out a notice that I'd be doing this workshop, it was completely filled. So that was one indication that people want more information on kindness. But if you turn on the TV these days and you look at areas in our country and around the world, from the halls of Congress to the main streets of small town America and big cities everywhere. And even I just returned from a business trip to New York and went over to Geneva and Zurich. It's no different everywhere I go. It almost seems like most people aren't capable of being civil to others, to listening to others' viewpoints. So that's why I thought we'd talk about this today. Dr. Dennis, I think we're in the midst of an epidemic in which few people have time to be kind. And I think that this is a rampant form of I'm just trying to think of the right words. I'll say it's nothing short of a sickness. I know I'm going out on a limb, but I'm gonna be calling this a sickness, a form of self-centeredness that's brought about by people always rushing around, trying to make ends meet, and trying to cope with mounting stress and often numerous health issues. So, in the workshop last month, I started by saying, do you feel overwhelmed in your life and less compassionate than you did a few years ago? And, so I asked people, they raised their hands, and people talked a little bit about this, and some people admitted that they're burning the candle at both ends. Many people said that they never get enough sleep, that they don't have time to call their own with all their work and family responsibilities. And it seems like we're in this spin cycle lifestyle. So, and I'm just curious, since you and I are just talking here and nobody's listening, do you ever feel like this in your life? Because you're busy with family and your practice. Do you ever feel overwhelmed by life and like you're in this spin cycle lifestyle?
I know I got a pretty hefty schedule to meet. I'd like to think that I meet these commitments with kindness, and but I do know that sometimes I can't give the time that I'd like to give in any particular individual case, because I've got to move to another one, and oftentimes that cuts that first encounter very short when you'd like it to be longer. I do hope that the interrogatory is a kind one, but I'm probably not the one to judge that.
Right. Now, I have heard, though, you have a good bedside manner, that you're great with patients, which is wonderful. So let's talk about this rushing around, and in a few moments I'll get into practical ways that you can bring more kindness into your life. I'll talk about sleep, meditation, diet, exercise, nature, what all these do for you. But think about this so we can put this all in perspective. The more you rush around in your life without keeping things in balance, the more you lose compassion for yourself and others. And if you think about it, really, think about your life and what you do. People are in such a rush these days, living on that fast track, talking fast, eating fast, moving fast. And Dennis, what a difference from 50 years ago. Because did you know that you'll probably do more this year with appointments, people to meet, and places to go than your grandparents did in their entire lives? And given that current pace, we barely have time to relax and cultivate relationships with our children, our spouses, friends, and nature. So is it any wonder that stress-related diseases are on the rise? 80% of most doctor visits are due to stress-related matters. And we are these days under pressure to keep busy even in our leisure hours. You think computers have helped us, but I think they've really sped up our lives. And listen, I know I need a computer, but if I could live without a computer, I'd be fine with that. Most people want to do everything, and you want to do it all at once. You talk on the telephone and text while you drive, even though we're not supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. You watch television while you read. You conduct business while you listen to the radio. So, as I said a month ago in my workshop, I see this as a sickness of epidemic proportions, and I call it a busyness or a hurry sickness. And this type of lifestyle also drains our hearts of compassion, according to many of studies. And by the way, on my website, the blog page is 2 from the left in the navigation bar. Just this morning, I posted an article that goes into much more detail about this kindness topic than we'll have time to discuss today. But if you understand the speed of light you can, a speed of life, you can slow it down by enjoying it more and by making a conscious choice to be more compassionate. And it always starts with yourself, too, to be more compassionate with yourself.
Well, let's see then. What about cases in your own life where you've come across a situation that it was getting unruly, and you could see that this was moving in a direction that was not going to be a pleasant encounter for both you and the person that you were dealing with. And then maybe how you got that turned around. Something like that could really benefit listeners who are confronting those kinds of encounters each and every day.
Yeah, exactly. And every day presents us with hundreds of opportunities to practice kindness and compassion towards our fellow humans. And if you want one practical example, I'm just thinking back to the holidays in December. And I was moved by a gesture at the airport. I was leaving Portland. That's a wonderful airport, by the way. I was up in Oregon, and I had to fly back here to Los Angeles. And because of all the stormy weather, most of the flights were delayed. Some were canceled. And the airport was crowded with unhappy travelers. You know how that is during the holidays. It's just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously I was delighted that for some reason my flight was scheduled to leave on time. And as they announced the final boarding, you know how they do that, I noticed this harried man running up to the counter with his briefcase in one hand and his ticket in the other. And the ticket agent said that unfortunately, because I was nearby that counter, that his reservation had been cleared and his seat had been given away.
Oh, boy.
So she told him really kindly and politely that she would do everything she could to get him a seat on a later flight. Well, Dr. Dennis, this man went ballistic, and everyone in the terminal could hear that din of his frustration. You know, he had an important meeting in LA, and he had to get there. And I couldn't help but feel for him because I've had similar situations where I couldn't afford to miss a flight.
Exactly.
But everybody felt sorry for this ticket agent, especially when he yelled out in his tirade that he wanted to see his supervisor. So all of a sudden, this sweet little petite woman who appeared to be in her mid to late 70s walked up to this man and she said, "Dear, I'm not in a hurry. I'd be happy to give you my seat." And people were all gathered around. They could hear this. And as you can imagine, this man stopped right in his tracks. I think it looked almost like he was about to cry, but he apologized to her, the ticket agent, and everyone for his behavior and thanked the woman for being his angel in his life. So then he boarded the flight smiling, relieved, much wiser. Isn't it funny that his seat happened to be right next to mine?
Oh.
Yeah, and what a blessing for this lovely woman, because the man never knew it, of course, but the airline got her another flight just 3 hours later and also gave her a free first-class round-trip ticket to any destination served by that company. It was Alaska Airlines, by the way. So she was truly twice blessed. So
yes, she was.
It's just interesting to watch all this. And as Mother Teresa once said, spread your love everywhere you go. I love that. You know, and my grandmother and Mom always used to say to me, walk the path of love and kindness, and then joy will be your constant companion. It's amazing how much better you feel when you do something kind for someone else, whether they know about it or not. I think I might have told you this story a year or two ago. But I remember I was here in Brentwood where I live, and I was on the main boulevard, and I had my car parked in front of a flower shop, but I wasn't going there. I was going somewhere else. And I came back to my car, and there was this beautiful long stem yellow rose under the windshield wiper of my car with a note. And the note said, "Dear Susan," it was, I don't know the words exactly, but it was, "I love you." It had to do with Walking on Air, my book Walking on Air.
Yeah.
It said, "Your book Walking on Air has changed my life. I love your work. I'm too shy to come and speak to you in person. So here's a yellow rose to thank you." And I looked all around, and then there was just an initial for the name. So, you don't know who did it. I looked all around, but no one came up to identify themselves. But, just
What a nice gesture.
Kindness. Maybe you offer to babysit for a single mom who's inundated with life and just needs a little time to call her own. Maybe you make a meal to give to a couple are going through a difficult time. Maybe you go to a senior center and bring some beautiful food, or teach them to dance. There's just countless ways that you can show kindness to other people. Maybe you slip some money into a friend's pocket without the friend knowing, because if they knew it, they wouldn't accept it. It's going through a difficult financial time. So many little things you can do. I know my mom always used to say to me, "Give 3 hugs a day. Hug therapy is terrific." I know some people don't want to be touched, but I'm totally into hug therapy. I do like that.
I like
and
that.
Maybe like you need to do this. My grandmother always said that the greatest hunger of the human heart is to feel understood. Sometimes if we just give someone our undivided attention, we're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, so maybe we should talk a little less. I should probably listen to that. Listen a little bit more, and just let someone know by listening that you care.
Well, you tend to use a phrase. I like the way that you use this phrase, because you say this act of kindness should be your default position. Describe what you mean by default position, because I think that may capture a basic pattern of conducting oneself each and every day if they move to their default position.
Yeah, well, it just wants to be your general way of dealing with situations and people and business. Even in business, you can be kind. Because think about it, we all really want the same thing in our lives. We want kindness, we want love, we want to feel appreciated and validated. And when you're kind to other people, people remember that. I'll tell you, it's funny, I've never talked about this ever, what I'm about to say. Somehow it just popped up in my mind. And my family knows this, but that's about it. So now you all will know this. But I went to high school. I grew up here in LA. I'm a native. And I went to high school here. And, 15 years ago, I went to one of the latest high school reunions.
Well, that's scary.
It sure is. It's funny how they have pictures of how you looked in high school. And then, so they do that so you can remember who everybody is. But in high school, at that reunion, several people came up to me. And, it's separate times, so they didn't all do it in a group. And they all said the same thing, because you were asked to tell people what you remembered about them. And everyone said, "We always remembered how kind you were to everybody." And I'll tell you, that was the greatest compliment I could get. Not that I've written 27 books and taught at UCLA for 30 years and have 5 different degrees, but the fact that people remembered that back then that I was kind. I know the teachings of my mom and my grandmother, because my dad died when I was young, really stuck with me all these years. And so let's get practical about how you can be more kind in your life. And let's start off with one of the most important ways to practice kindness, and that is to get more sleep. Because if you get only 6 hours of sleep a night, or less, which many people listening do, I know that, it makes you feel more stressed and depressed and impatient. It increases your blood pressure and it makes you more irritable. And it's hard to feel compassionate when you're just trying to get through the day with a short fuse and not enough time to accomplish all you need to do. So always begin this journey of kindness with getting more sleep. The studies reveal that when you get more sleep on a regular basis, your stress level abates, you become a more compassionate person. And as I wrote about in my book, Walking on Air, there was a study done, and this has to do with cell phones, at the University of Zurich. And the study revealed that those people who talk on their cell phone before bedtime have disrupted sleep compared to people who don't talk on the telephone at all or who use a landline. And this has to do with the electromagnetic fields created from the cell phone. So make sure that get more sleep, and if you have to use a phone at night, hopefully you still have a landline, use the landline. Try not to use your cell phone right before you go to bed. They're now doing a study on using a headset on a cell phone, but that's in Zurich. That study's not done yet.
Yeah, a lot of EMFs, electromechanical frequencies that we get bombarded with. Sure.
Yeah. And gosh, I mean, I don't use a cell phone that much, but when I do, I don't want to put it up by my head. I always would use a headset. But I'm one of those rare people in LA that hardly ever even carry a cell phone. I'm just, I don't, it's just so into health, and I don't think having a cell phone connected to your ear all the time is great for you. And I'd rather, and I know you can't tell that now when I'm with you, but I'd rather talk less and listen more, and be more mindful of everything going on around me than walking around texting and talking on the cell phone. All right, so enough about me. Another tip is to meditate and pray to help you be more kind. And you don't have to be a Buddhist monk to know how to meditate. You know, I've been a disciplined meditator for over 35 years, since I was 2 years old. You know, so I know firsthand of its benefits. And you want to spend about 15 minutes first thing in the morning. And if you can fit in a second session before going to bed, great. And you just sit and close your eyes and keep your back straight and focus on your breathing and inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. And I often focus on the sound and rhythm of my breath, and I mentally visualize something peaceful and calm. You know, maybe visualize a flower or waves at the ocean or the mountains or whatever it is for you. And because according to recent studies, practicing meditation daily, and it's nice if you can bookend your day, morning and evening, with maybe 10 minutes. It changes the brain waves in a positive way and makes you feel calmer, less anxious, and more compassionate. And besides that, other studies show that compassionate people are healthier, happier, and more successful at work. And how about this? They earn more money. This is all scientifically documented. Again, you can go to SusanSmithJones.com, go to blog, and the very first blog today is all about this topic. So let's talk about diet. What, you know this, but maybe others don't. What you eat absolutely affects your mood. And if you want to be more compassionate and kind, you have to eschew, give up, say goodbye to foods with white sugar, white flour, and also avoid foods made with artificial flavorings, colorings, and preservatives. You know, you choose to eat your foods if you want to honor your body and keep it healthy. Eat the foods as close to the way nature made them as possible, with lots of natural colors, with lots of plant-based foods, that are teeming with antioxidants, nutrients, and fiber. You also want to strive to eat about at least 60% of your diet from living uncooked foods like fresh fruits and vegetables because they are more calming. On my website, go over to articles. The very first article under articles is my article on the skinny on raw foods and how they heal the body. So you can read more about that. And now exercise. Tell me, we all want to know, what is your exercise program?
I walk daily. And I take a nice little trek about an hour. Pretty good rate. I'm always amazed when I do a track that sometimes I go on when it's inclement weather. There are some ladies on that track doing the same thing I'm doing that lap me, and I get confounded on how the heck they can do that.
And they're 20 years older.
And they're 20 years older, and they're lapping me.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying lapping or laughing?
No, they're lapping me. They come around and circle me sometimes twice over the course.
Well, that is great. So you're over at a college or a high school?
Actually, there's a recreational center near where I live that has a.
Excellent. Is that indoors or outdoors?
That's an indoor one. So during the wintertime, that's where you do the walking, and when the weather gets better, everything's outside, of course. But we're just making that transition now.
Yes. Now, do you work out to the point where you're sweating?
Oh yeah, there's a good amount of sweat coming off of me when I've completed that hour. Sure.
Excellent, excellent. Well, so let's talk about exercise. There's this Latin phrase you've heard, a sound mind and a sound body. But researchers are finding that there's much more to that adage than what might first appear. Because there was a 4-year study done on 200 people over in England, and it was headed by a Dr. Malcolm Carruthers, who found that people could ban the blues with a simple, vigorous 10-minute exercise session 3 times a week.
10 minutes.
3 times a week. He found that just 10, although you do want to do more than that, I'm going to say that. But he found that 10 minutes of exercise doubles the level of norepinephrine in the body, a key chemical to happiness. And it was also discovered that in another study that people became more compassionate after exercising outdoors as opposed to indoors, because being in nature calms us down and reduces anxiety. Studies show this. Probably one of the reasons I prefer to hike in the mountains or walk along the Santa Monica beach or at a local park or the bluff above the beach, as opposed to working out in a gym. So this segues into how nature can make you feel more compassionate and kind and make you be kinder. Here's a very simple and inexpensive way to become more compassionate. You listen to this. You view a photo or an image like a big poster. You know they have the Sierra Club posters of a nature scene. And you can put that poster or photo you blow up in your home or your office, and you look at it a few times a day. You should put this, Dennis, in all of the rooms in your practice. Put up a beautiful nature photo, because in one study, it was revealed that those people who spent a few moments a day viewing images of nature, especially expansive views of nature like an ocean scene or the mountains, became more compassionate. And there are many, by the way, you know this, there are thousands of beautiful nature photos you can look at all over my website that will help you feel relaxed, calm, and compassionate. But even better than viewing images of nature is you being outdoors in nature and experiencing it firsthand. In my workshop last month and in my private practice, I always talk about a disease that I coined called NDD, and it's nature deficit disorder. Yeah, and when you have the choice, exercise outdoors. I'm glad it's warmer there now. Take a hike in the mountains, walk in the park, ride your bike, swim outdoors, take a brisk walk, whatever you can do, because not only does too much time away from nature drain your body's energy and throw off your physical, mental, emotional balance, but it also, I believe, wrinkles our soul and deprives us of a cost-free visual volume experience. So the more time we spend outdoors in nature on a regular basis, especially take your kids out there, they spend too much time in front of the computer and TV, the healthier and more balanced we become. So our moms and grandmas were right when they said, go outside and play. And to that I'll say, go outside to play and pray.
Play and pray.
And I know we don't have much time to talk about this, but go over to my website, the home page at SusanSmithJones.com, and right there to the left of where it says May June newsletter, click on sauna, water, mattress, because when you take a sauna, the heat in the body, then you get out of the sauna and it cools you down. The process of cooling down after you've heated up your core just releases chemicals in your body that make you happy and peaceful and relaxed. So and there's lots of healing power in sweating all the time. I don't mean all the time, but I mean regular saunas, sessions of it. I have a wellness center here in LA, and when people come to speak with me, and I know they're depressed and uptight and anxious, whatever their mental, emotional issues, I often have them go take a sauna first, and I have them come early because I know it will be a better session when I speak with them afterwards. When people come to me and they're depressed, another thing I do is I take them down to the bluff in Santa Monica over the ocean, and we walk in silence for 5 minutes before I begin to talk with them. And I know a session will be more effective than sitting on 2 chairs or a couch. It's better walking and talking because they get all those great endorphins that are released, and they go from more left brain to right brain. And when your body is the least bit dehydrated, well, you've got to keep your body hydrated with good water. It makes you feel anxious, less compassionate, a little bit more depressed and irritable. So you've got to keep your body hydrated. It really lowers your mood. And so often, Dr. Dennis, when people think they're hungry, they're actually thirsty. So it's important to drink good water every day.
Absolutely. And you have a favorite, what is it, water filtration system that we've often talked about? You want to share some?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Get out a pen and paper. I've used it for 20 years. I have one in my office. It was voted the best in the world. One in my office, one in my home. Right on the home page, if you click there, right above the 2 free books you get, click on alkaline water. It's called Ionizer Plus. And so it makes alkaline water because it's really good to have your body, the water that you drink, that you fill your body with the right pH. And you don't get that in bottled water that you get in the stores. It's just good not to have bottled water. And I know that's one of the reasons I haven't been sick in decades, not with a cold or a flu, because I drink the right kind of water. There's this great company, I'll just say quickly, they're in Boulder. They're called High Tech Health. And they sell the best made, environmentally friendly infrared sauna in the world. They have all different sizes. So I use their sauna, and they make the Ionizer Plus machine. So you can read about it right there on my homepage under articles. I've got lots of articles, and you can call them. They have a toll-free number. I would not be without my sauna, my alkaline water, a few supplements that I take, my Vitamix. These are all things that give me a healthy lifestyle. But the number in Boulder, Colorado, toll-free for High Tech Health, to get more info on their Ionizer. It's called Ionizer Plus, and their saunas. It's 800-794-5355. 800-794-5355. Now, I always go to their product specialist, the one who knows everything. Her name's Emily. She's at extension 802. Whenever I have questions about the water, for example, it wasn't long ago that I learned, because I used to fill up pitchers with my water, put it in the fridge, until I learned that you lose the good pH after days and days. That's why the pH in the bottles of the stores isn't what they say on the label. But alkaline water, remember we did 2 shows on mental health.
pH, yeah.
Most people are too acid, but alkaline water really helps. Helps keep you healthy, helps you lose weight, helps you lose cellulite, detoxifies your body, gives you energy, helps you sleep better, makes your skin look youthful. In fact, I carry it with me wherever I go, except on flights.
All right.
I can't take it anymore.
Look,
I'll see you on January 10th again.
Well, it's going to be June 10th.
Oh,
okay?
I wanted to see if you were listening.
It's going to be June 10th, which is the second Wednesday. So we'll talk in the meantime about what the topic may be. Wherever you're off to, and enjoy yourself, and bring with you all the knowledge that you always do when you come. We'll see you in June.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye now. There you have it, Dr. Susan Smith-Jones on how to be kind as your default position. So look, we're going to wrap it up right now. We thank Bill for the chopsticks, and we'll see you on Friday. We're going to open them up then. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Dr. Susan Smith-Jones saying so long for AM Impact on your health.